and this was? How many?
Even as cover crop for the hazel.
Yep. It is.
Even driving these days.
So we've got
Red Hill.
and at a quarter cup bees, and a lot were drones. There were probably only about 100 bees in there. So this is about, I'd say, an 8% bee mite infestation. That's really high, really high. So any day it could switch to having a really big disease factor.
Hands-on guidance. I think I've been doing okay.
I'd say it's at 8%. Yeah, we want to keep it at 1%.
So how many bees did you have in there?
I had a quarter cup, and a lot were drones.
Okay.
So I think there was only about 100 bees.
Oh, okay, okay. So 100 bees, okay.
So look at it quickly, and then we'll put it back inside.
Yeah.
You want to hold it? You got to get it under the, get that sun behind you, so you might have to walk over there.
I was reading our
Paul, what do you want me to do?
Oh, I see. Okay.
Oh,
Oh yeah, back rub.
They're supposed to replace.
Beautiful. Here's about 95% drone.
Oh, baby's cold.
And to try to pursue possibly farm.
okay, so this one's going to get another.
How many did you get?
Do you know how many? We didn't get too many more.
Oh, that's good.
I hit up the extension service. Always gets stuff really good.
You want to hear?
Can
you get a video from below?
Oh, let's see.
and maybe a good tax account. You want to
This
get
is close as you can get it.
Yeah,
That should
I
be
know.
good.
I haven't, I mean,
Oh yeah.
I started in
Do
here
that.
because of that in the back of my mind.
That's perfect.
It doesn't look like too many more came out.
So, Linda,
Pattern.
can you explain the percentage?
Pattern. What's that?
Can you explain the percentage? I'll record it.
So see that one right there? She's really fuzzy right by my thumb. That she would just as newly emerged today. They're really fuzzy the first few days. Okay, so I don't see a queen, and I don't see a queen. So okay, I'm going to do this method.
I'm trying not to do like go crazy here.
So I checked for a queen, and there's no queen here. So now I'm gonna get some of the workers here. So you can see they kind of fall right in, and there's about a quarter. Okay, get that back in there. But look at those nice queen cups at the bottom. Oh, and here's a bee that she's just emerged today. See how fuzzy she is? Right there.
So are they getting ready to swarm again? Oh no, that's
I don't
just
think
cup.
so.
Which is one?
Yeah.
This one right here.
Oh, okay.
She's really fuzzy. So they kind of have this downy fuzz on them for a few days.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll set that back in.
No, I'm trying to do that.
If you'd like, go ahead and look at the next frame, and we'll see what we have on there. Okay, so that's about a quarter cup of bees.
Very overwhelmed by it this year because I just was like, wait a minute, I don't have to think about that yet.
You get down to the bottom box on that one, and you're seeing frames that are fertilized real bad on the bottom.
Are you talking to them?
Not like that, there isn't a whole lot I can do about it.
So how much alcohol do you put in?
I just put it a little bit above the
So
level.
we got a distended build.
Yep, nice. So here's the bottom of the basket. I just put a little bit of half an inch above the basket. And then here's my bees. I'm going to dump them in. Close them up. Okay, so usually you shake for about a minute. You can let it sit for a little while and then shake a little longer and then look for mites. But look at that, I already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mites already. Ooh. So, you want to keep shaking?
Why such a difference, you know, 1 and 7 and 1 and... Why such a difference?
Well, different queens are going to give different skills to their bees. And some queens give a skill which is to recognize when mites are under a capping. Another, and that's where we saw in here where they actually uncapped 2 of the larvae that was metamorphosizing. Probably they did that because there was not disease under there, but there were mites under there. Maybe this queen doesn't have that ability. So then you get more mites going through their whole process. Other mites, other queens will have a skill that they will pass on, which is biting. And they'll actually bite the feet and the legs off of mites. So then they can't hold on. If they can't hold on, they can't eat the fat body.
So they're A-frame bodies.
And then some bees have no skills. And the other is that if there's more disease, then they just can't do those skills. They can't do, you know, they can't express those good genetics. So you might have a queen with really good genetics, but because the mite count got too high, they got too much disease load, and then they can't uncap. They just can't do any of those behaviors. So you want to keep the mite count low so that those good queens don't get disease, so they can keep fighting the mites.
Oh, I was supposed to have my second.
Interesting. They're fascinating.
Paul was asking if you would do something to the bottom one, but I didn't hear what he said. Paul was asking if you would do something to that bottom one, but you were talking.
Oh, so I got bees about that.
No.
We'll do it again.
Okay.
On the next.
Okay.
All interact, and it changes through the year. So it's kind of understanding how the biology of the hive cycles annually, and how those resources are used, and that tells you when you can get away with doing things. You know, like you don't want to steal all the honey off in October. You want to take it in July because you want to give them some summer to put pollen away, put honey away, and fill up their cupboards for the winter. So what do you want to do?
I want you to pick this one up. I'm going to put that one back here.
Okay.
That one's going to
Want to pop it loose for me?
No, I was going to let you pick the whole thing.
Yeah. So when I look for a queen, one way is to kind of look at it at you know, because the queen is going to be different shape.
Okay.
So in my mind, I'm saying not
Oh, there's a big bottom. There's a big ball of bees on the bottom.
tail. And the queen usually, her tail, her abdomen will drag along.
So they'll see the eggs in there immediately.
So when she's walking, it's like a lizard's tail. The other thing
So in the next couple of weeks, we'll call check this out.
she'll be walking along, and she just, see all these guys,
Will it be on that same frame that you just put in?
Pardon?
Will it be on that same frame that you
Yep.
just put in?
Yep. In 4 days, if everything, if there's enough bees in it, you know, there's no reason why it shouldn't happen. But they will have queen cells in 4 days.
So that would be called
Emergency cells, because it wasn't a planned exit.
Okay.
It happened because of a swarm failure.
So is that an emergency supersedure?
No.
No.
Supersedure is when a queen has failed and they want to replace her.
Oh, okay.
That's what supersedure means.
Okay.
It's like usurpation. Okay? If a queen is not laying
Yeah.
and needs to be replaced, they will do it.
Yeah.
If she fails unexpectedly,
Yeah.
that's an emergency replacement.
Oh, okay. So
You
this
just-
is like they swarmed.
Yeah,
And
this is a
it's
swarm, and,
yeah.
and it's because of the swarm that
Okay.
this happened, and the failed reproduction of the queen. That's what happened. The queen didn't replace herself in this colony for some reason.
Yeah. They usually, I mean,
Usually it works.
The queen should leave plenty of eggs or
Eggs,
queen
yeah.
cells.
Well, and it's like I said, there's always a chance that you're going to not get a good mating. You know, there's
Oh,
variables
yeah,
out there
yeah.
that may prevent her from successfully mating. She might have got out there and got eaten by a swallow.
But there's also no evidence of the queen cell.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So yeah, it might have been a failure on the part of the house bees to build a cell. There may not have been adequate. You know, you don't know. Sometimes, you know, they'll tear them down, and you'll see nothing. You know, this depends on the bees. Sometimes they'll strip everything down, and there's no evidence that there was a queen cell in there. The queen may have just failed, and they may have not had. She may, because what happens usually is this time of year, as she starts to fail, her pheromone production reduces, her egg laying ability starts being reduced. They're making spaces and she's not filling them, sort of a thing.
oh, okay.
And so they go, okay, let's find a good egg, let's get a new queen going. And they will leave her alone, because she's still a resource until they get a replacement for her that's mated.
And then they'll kill her.
Well, no, they don't kill her.
Oh,
Yeah, well, only time workers kill queens is if they're foreign to the colony.
oh,
Okay? It would be foolish for them to kill a laying queen.
okay.
You know, that'd be like kids shooting their mom.
Oh,
Okay, where's my next meal coming from?
yeah,
Where are the diapers?
yeah. So they'll
Who's
wait
got the
till,
remote for the TV?
but they'll wait till a new queen comes back, and then they'll get rid of her.
Yeah, often you will find a virgin queen and her mother in the same colony.
Okay,
Okay?
okay.
And if she's not viable to swarm, if it's just a supersedure,
Yeah.
the bees will stay there.
Oh,
You see, they got to swarm. You got to have a laying queen.
right.
Right. So you know, we go, how come I got two queens in there? Well, one's failing and one's replacing her. And so, I've opened up colonies and seen that. I've opened up colonies and seen two mated queens inside of them.
Oh.
One of them just kind of, and the other one laying like a machine gun.
Oh,
Okay. She's not a threat.
yeah. So they'll let her stay.
They will eventually just ignore her and she'll die.
Oh.
She won't put enough pheromone amount to attract a retinue and for them to feed her and take care of her and stuff. So that can happen. There's a lot of stuff that can go on. Just when you think you got it figured out, you know that'll never happen. Wrong. It happened.
Paul, that one has the little piece of wood at the bottom for the entry. Can you replace that with this one?
I gotta get the
What do you mean? This?
Your entrance, right there. That little piece of wood, the entrance. Does that come over here?
Not now.
Well, I got to screw it on.
Oh.
Now, I'm debating putting the bee escape
Well,
on.
are they small?
Get the bees out of there.
I have
My plan is
small, but
that
they're not.
because
I
this is
have
nothing
large
but
ones.
Well,
It's okay.
yeah, but you want the bees out.
but I want the bees out. Take it home.
Yeah, put the bee escape on. Yeah. So what he's putting on now is a device. It's a kind of a one-way deal for bees. They'll go out, but if you leave it on long enough, they'll figure out how to go back. But if he comes back within 2 days, most of these bees will have left this, and this will be empty, and they'll be down in here, and they'll be working on these boxes.
And then what I'm going to do is take that home and cut everything down. I'll cut the beak down to a medium size, and I'll cut the frames off. That's going to be an experiment because I've never done it before. Steve has, but I'm going to cut the frames off. I'll put the bottom boards, tack them back on. You know, so I got to make them the right size, and then take this thing out, and they'll have all the, because these are almost nothing but pollen.
Yeah.
There's a crap load of pollen.
What happens is when hives are queenless, it doesn't mean the foraging population quits doing anything. They will often plug a colony up because the brood nest is not being used. So they'll just keep bringing in pollen and honey, and they'll fill it all up. And that's a problem when you get them started again. You got to give the queen some laying room. Okay. And so what he's doing is he's removing this. I'm going to keep this pollen reserved and be able to spread it out amongst these other colonies. You see some that are light in pollen. They need about 2 kilograms of pollen, around a pound of bee bread stored up to come out of the tail end of winter. Because that's what they're doing, is they're using pickled pollen to raise bees when there's no pollen around, late winter, early spring. as soon as
It's their wine for the winter.
well, it's really it's like spam, you know, versus steak. You know, they first eat fresh pollen always. The second thing that they will go after is substitute or bee bread. The bee bread's from last year. Usually they'll eat it before they'll eat pollen substitute. If it's older than that, or it's just wonky tasting, they'll eat the pollen substitute. Depends on the makeup of the substitute. Some of it's pretty good now. But the bottom line is that that pollen's a resource and it's valuable. So it's a new one.
So when Paul comes back 4 or 5 days afterwards, checks it out.
Monday. 2
If
days.
they're still not doing anything, is he going to repeat the procedure again? Is he going to put in more?
No. Here's. You've got eggs. You've got day-old larvae. The bees will pick what they want. They will look for the nicest, most blessed-looking resource to rear a
two more
queen.
frames of eggs in.
Yeah. So what they will do is they will, within 4 days, you will see queen cups on those. Okay. The older queen cups will be made on day-old larvae. The newer queen cups will be made out of eggs. Okay. Because those eggs take 3.5 days to turn. Okay. So you'll see a variety of ages in there. Okay. The ones that will probably, if I would pick ones to leave, if I had 6 cells made in there, okay, and 2 of them were capped, 4 of them are capped and 2 of them are uncapped. I get rid of all the capped ones. I leave the uncapped ones there. The reason for that is that those are made out of eggs.
Oh.
You'll get the greatest amount of care. If you've got day-old larva that hasn't been fed like a queen normally is fed when she's in a queen cup, upside down, she's going to be substandard. She's going to get a little bit less nourishment than a full-blown queen cup with an egg in it that is destined to become a queen. But any female egg can be turned into a queen within a day after it emerges, or changing from an egg to a larva. That's the first molt.
We think that she's
So,
over here, right?
If you give them those resources, they will make queens out of them in various ways.
So they feed the queen royal jelly?
The queens are fed different than workers.
Okay.
Queens are fed over 1,600 times.
Okay, but it's the same substance.
No.
No. Okay.
And the workers are fed about 600 times as larvae.
Okay.
So you've got 1,000 more feedings taking place for a queen. That's why she is just like uber fast in growing.
But do they always feed them with royal jelly?
Well,
What
royal
else do
jelly
they
is
have?
just a term to describe in general secretion that comes out
Oh,
of the
okay.
mandibular. There's
Okay.
different types of substances that they secrete. When they're feeding a worker, it's kind of like you go to the ice cream machine, you can get chocolate and vanilla or swirl.
Yeah.
Okay, you get 3 ways. Well, they can kind of do that. They can decide what they are going to feed particular larvae. If it's a worker larva, it doesn't get the high quality
Okay.
superfood that a queen gets. It's good, but it's for a worker. And then drones are fed high protein, high pollen concentration food. That's because their bodies are flying sex organs and they got massive flight muscles. They need lots of protein. So that's why there's a difference in the way that they're fed, because their physiology and their function is different. Queen has to be able to shift gears. Her ovaries have to expand, and she's got to maintain a vessel of sperm in her body for her entire life. That's why if you mess with queens and move them around, you want to make sure you maintain a temperature between 85 and 95 degrees. You don't want them to get chilled, because they got to keep that vessel of sperm viable inside of them.
That's interesting,
Yeah.
because that according to Chinese medicine, if your ovary is too cold, you can't get pregnant.
You got it. There's a lot of truth in that. That's a lot of truth in that.
I wish I'd have known that about 20 years ago.
Cold men don't impregnate women very well. First of all, they won't let them close to them. Get warm or get lost.
So in order to do that, I think I'm going to put this box. I want to get rid of that box, but
You want this one to go away?
I'll put this on the bottom.
This is pollen resources.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to make it go away.
Yeah.
But I'm going to prepare it to go away.
So you want to slide this all back together?
Yeah, so that one's going to go on the bottom. These two will go along with this one on the top, and then that one will go on the very top. And then when I do end up with some queen cells, hopefully I'll take that one off. And I'm gonna take it home real quick and cut the frames down, the mediums, and bring it back because it's got resources in it.
It's got some honey in there.
So are they worried?
Are they worried?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They should be.
No.
I'm sorry?
They're determined.
Okay.
Okay.
Focused at the job.
Well, you know,
Fix this.
they're going to survive.
Yeah.
They got to get the resources, and they got to, you know,
They need eggs.
yeah, they got to. Yeah, if you give them the resources, there's. You
Yeah.
have, see, the thing is you've got brood that's still hatching out. All of
Okay.
that brood that's going to hatch out, those are going to be young bees,
Yeah.
house bees
Yeah.
that can
It'll be alive
make,
for about a month, right?
well, yeah, they spend 2 weeks in the hive, and then they get a couple more weeks getting oriented and starting to forage. So
Yeah.
35 days average life outside of the
Okay.
hive.
So if they're given eggs and
Outside of the
resources, they can
they'll make a
still
new queen.
continue. They'll
Yeah,
be fine.
they'll make a new queen. So there'll be a little dip in the population, and so
this one, probably. You're gonna like.
so yeah, that's a queenless colony. You notice when we looked at the brood pattern, there should have been eggs.
Hold this.
You know, shoelace concentrically from the center.
Is there
out.
eggs in there?
Okay, and then that hatches out, and that becomes bare, and then finally the middle hatches. She'll move from. Did you want to get that out of there? Oh, sorry. Well, she found some frames. Oh, okay.
They'd have to have eggs to
Yeah,
turn it into a queen.
All that beautiful white.
So that's the brood, and this band is the pollen.
Yeah, see, there's that's empty. That's a good one.
Oh, okay.
She got him in her hand. Is that the one?
Yeah, go ahead and drop that one in there.
Is there eggs in that?
And we're going to take another one out.
Let me see. Is that the one you're going to use? The eggs?
There's some really early wet larvae right in here.
Like I've got one yellow pollen right here.
Yeah, there's eggs in there.
Let's see.
You look in the bottoms of these cells, right there.
Oops.
You'll notice wet larvae. I don't know. Here, just get out in the sun. Yeah. Can you see that?
There.
Hold your finger out. Right in there.
Oh, yeah, I can see
That whitish?
Yep.
That's all brand new larvae. And there's little tiny eggs out to the periphery of that.
So can I use the larva?
Now
or
notice
do they
this.
have to use the egg?
Notice the best thing to use is a 24-hour, no more than 24-hour-old larva. Okay, they will move an egg if they have to. But notice the band of pollen all the way around that.
Yeah.
Wide band of pollen.
Yeah.
There's no nectar in that dead space in between that and the brood.
Okay.
It's all filled up with eggs and larvae. I mean, I'm seeing eggs
I don't
in
see
there.
eggs.
Well, eggs are really tiny. Eggs are like in here
Oh.
and there. You got to look really careful. Maybe magnifying glass. Little tiny white rice grain type things.
Look in there, Suze. The white.
You're going to need a magnifying glass is what you're going to need.
When I saw him, it looked like a little
A little piece of rice.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to point you at a cell with an egg in it. Right there. That cell has an egg in it, and that cell has an egg in it. Right in the bottom.
Okay.
That's what they're saying.
Oh, that's small.
They are.
My
But
goodness.
see, that's the band of pollen I'm talking about.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
no
yeah,
nectar in here.
Okay.
There's
So
emerging-
nectar would be shiny, right? So
Yeah,
the
it's liquid.
pollen
It's
is
just
dull.
Well, pollen looks like dough.
Oh, okay.
That's what this is.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
but the liquid shiny,
Yeah.
see, honey is like,
Is the nectar concentrated?
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's capped usually.
Looks
Yeah.
like water if it's not.
Okay.
See, they're putting See, they're opening this up right here. That's honey that's being opened up.
Oh, so they're eating.
See it in there?
They're eating.
See it in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, from the smoke. But there's honey on the periphery, then pollen, then eggs, new larva, older larva, capped brood. Okay.
So,
look, everybody hanging out here is either a drone or a nursery, or they might have been displaced. It's when you smoke and you move stuff around as far as. But see, that's why I got a lot of drone. But there's lots of larvae on this side.
oh, okay.
I've got a slot for that.
Oh,
Look at
so
that,
they're
look at that.
pending the
Look at
larva.
that.
That's
Well,
what
the
they're
drones
doing.
are just hanging out. These is a lot of drones, but there'll be bees on this.
Oh,
So anyway,
okay.
let's get this in there. This is what they need to make a queen.
So
Right
they're
here.
gonna have to form a queen cup
Yeah,
first?
no.
No?
They will take one of these cells and they'll remodel it around the right aged larva. They'll do several of them.
Oh, okay. So then you have queen cups and queen cells.
Yeah, these will be emergency cells.
yeah.
They'll be made in the center.
Oh, instead of at the bottom.
Yeah, the ones in the bottom are built by the bees, and the queen will lay eggs in them, or they will carry eggs in.
I had tons of those.
Those are swarm. Those are primary swarm.
That's what happened.
Okay, let's get this
They're
in
gone. So.
here. You want to mark this dude? You want me to mark it?
Oh, you learn something new every time. Oh.
You want to take that one off?
Here we go.
Honey here.
There's.
Honey here. And then we'll have a little bit of pollen.
See the little, see the empty, see that band? Okay, so this should be laid up. If there was a queen in here, this should be laid up with eggs.
Does someone want to get the next thing out?
And I'm not seeing any eggs. I've just got, there's emerging larvae there. See right there, see there's a bee coming out? Right there?
Yep.
Okay. So these are emerging, but this has not been filled in. Okay.
They're backfilling this one.
Yeah. So now
There's one wet larva right there.
notice how this. See this?
Yep.
See this? See this shiny? That's nectar that's being backfilled. Okay. So they were either in the swarming mode or getting rid, or they're coming out of it. Okay.
So can you introduce a queen now?
Well, the thing you got to do is determine is if you have one.
Well, if
didn't
you
see
had
any- I
one,
didn't
wouldn't
see
they
any
be
torn
laying
down.
eggs?
Yeah, I'm not seeing. We would see queen cells in here. Okay. I almost brought a couple queens with me. Don't make that mistake again. They're last year's queens. They're good ones too. So what I'm looking for are eggs, and I'm not seeing eggs. I'm not seeing eggs, and I'm not seeing little tiny new larvae. Okay. And that's going to tell me that there's a queen in there that's laying.
There's still a lot
I'm
of
looking
brood.
down in here. I'm looking down in here. I'm not seeing any new larvae. I'm seeing, see this nectar all along the edges over here? These are open cells that should be filled with larvae if there was a laying queen in there.
Are these? No, these are honey, not brood.
No, this is brood.
Oh,
This
they're
is
brood.
honey up here.
Okay. Oh, okay.
This is honey. This is all brood.
Okay. So brood is
Brood
opaque.
is the tannish.
Yeah.
If I open one of these up, we would see a developing pupa in there. There's a pupa in there.
And that
It's
would be
a-
more drones, right?
No, the drones, these are all worker cells. Okay, the drones are larger and they
Not
stick
bubbly.
up. They have kind of a bubble-shaped
The
top.
next one has
Oh, the
some.
next ring, yeah. Yeah, there's some.
That one doesn't have any eggs either.
Yeah, it's got a drone cell on it though. I thought it did. The same thing, backfilling.
Yep.
So there's no queen in here laying new eggs. So this hive needs a frame of eggs and or a queen. There's drone cells right there. See how those
Okay.
stick up and they're large.
Got it.
And they
This
didn't.
one's just getting
There's
sealed.
no queen cell either.
No, there's no queen cell in here. If there was,
Queen cup, but there was no
yeah, yeah. What you're looking for is one with an egg or a larva in it.
Yeah.
Okay, and if there's neither, they have no resources to make a queen.
Yeah.
And so if you were going to help this colony.
I thought we didn't see any queen cups
No.
at all because we looked
If you
at the
find one,
bottom
let
of
me
all
know.
the boxes and everything.
Yeah, here's a lot of drone brood. This is all drone brood in here.
Think this is a laying worker problem?
No, no. I'm not seeing any eggs.
Yeah.
If you had a laying worker, you'd
Yeah,
see
yeah, that's
lots
true.
of eggs in a cell.
So
And
they're
they'd be
dying
laid-
for a queen.
We're looking for the signs of a queen. We're looking for open young larvae and eggs, and I'm not seeing anything.
Didn't see that.
What I'm seeing is the aftermath of a swarm. I'm seeing lots of drones. I've seen drone brood. I'm seeing no eggs. Because if you think about this, if a laying queen left with bees, okay, after 4 days, there would be no eggs.
Right.
They would all have gone to the larval state. So think about this. How many days is a worker in an open cell state? Okay, 9 days.
9 days.
9 days, and then it gets capped. Queen gets capped at 8 days. The drone gets capped at 10 days. So we're seeing no open larva. That means for at least 9 days, there has not been a queen in this hive, because we don't see any eggs. We don't see any. Open brood at all. It's all capped brood.
So she potentially left with.
She swarmed.
She swarmed and left, but they don't have
They don't.
a new queen.
yeah.
Like they didn't develop a new queen.
Let's say they tried, okay, and that queen flew off and got eaten by a swallow, okay. After 4 days, they don't have any more resources to do that
Oh, okay.
because there's no queen to lay eggs. So if you gave them a frame of eggs and young larvae, they would make a queen cell.
So maybe
out
one
of
of
it.
these other hives you can pull from.
Yeah, that's resource allocation there.
Okay.
Or you may find one that has cells on it, and that'd even be better.
So
You can just-
they don't have a queen cup. Do they just make one when you give them larvae?
okay, well here, yeah, they'll make what they need. What they need is the egg or the day-old larva,
Oh,
and they wherever they find that, they will tear a cell down and they will turn it into a queen cell. They'll remodel it.
and then
okay.
how long does it take from
Well,
that?
every egg it's the first molt is to a larva from an egg. Okay,
yeah.
That's 3.5 days.
Yeah.
Okay, for a queen, okay, in 4.5 more days, she's going to be capped. And then in 8 more days, a total of 16, she's going to emerge
Yeah.
as a virgin.
Yeah.
A worker is 3.5 days as an egg, okay, and then 5.5 more days till that worker cell is capped, okay. And with a drone, it's 6.5 more days. 10 to capping for a drone, 9 to capping for a worker, 8 to capping for a queen.
Diagram.
So then the queen had to go out and
Queen-
come
okay.
back.
Queen has to emerge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, emerge. Yeah.
She takes about 5 days to get her act together so she can go fly. She's got to take orientation flights and get fit and get fed before she takes off and does her
So
long
that's
mating flight.
21 days for now.
Well,
Already.
from 16 days, there's about another 5 days before
Yeah.
she starts flying.
Yeah.
Okay. Then she can mate any time after that. She has up to 20 days after she emerges at 16 to get mated fully. Okay. So 26 days total
Yeah.
from egg to fully mated.
Until she comes back. If she comes back.
If she comes back, if she makes it, yeah, she could eat in the first time round. She might have emerged and been damaged and never even flown. You don't know, you know.
So if Paul does nothing with this hive right now,
It will fail.
it will abscond.
Well, it'll turn into a laying worker nightmare.
Yeah.
So it won't abscond.
So what if you put a brood frame in it?
Well,
now?
I'd find a frame of eggs.
We've got frames of eggs in
Okay,
there.
so you pull that out, put it in here, and then you leave it alone.
Well, it's a medium frame, so I'm gonna have to put it in a medium box.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
okay. But they'll find it, and then he can mark it, and then he can come back in a week or whenever he wants to. You know, if they've got eggs, it's going to take 8 days to make a capped cell. Come back in a week or 10 days, see if you got capped cells. If you don't, throw another frame in there. You know?
How long do they have? How many times can you try without them?
As long as you got frames of eggs, you can do that.
Yeah.
I did it for about
Till winter comes.
I did it for about 3
Oh,
months
oh.
last summer.
Oh, okay.
Frame of eggs,
Yeah.
about once every
Yeah.
2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
So you got some eggs?
That's what we're gonna do is take some of that.
Okay, we'll go
But-
find some eggs.
But
Okay, so then we are going
I'm gonna put
the
this back
other-
together.
You're levering against the top bar. Okay. long. I mean, there's a lot of things that control the opportunity to mate.
Okay.
So, but I mean, you think about this. She's expending a lot of energy, taking off, flying. If she's got to go a long ways, one may be all she's got in her tank for a day. She's going to go back, get refueled. But her ovaries are small, they're not enlarged. Virgin queen can fly just as well or more vigorously than a worker, but not as good as a drone because obviously they get caught. So, but that's.
How many times will they go out? Like how long does it take for her to go? I'm done.
Until her
I got enough.
spermatothecus is filled.
Okay.
When that vessel is filled with sperm, that's the end. She goes back to the hive. The queens clean off any debris from the mating, and she stays in the hive.
That's good for 8 years.
How long does it normally take?
To mate?
Yeah, to get completely mated.
Depends on
Just depends on
the number of flights and how much she receives.
2 to 3 years.
Oh, okay.
It's not like it takes about 6
No,
days.
it's not.
So you'd have to either split them or introduce new
And
queens.
and here's another thing.
For the whole season? Or
for her whole
ever?
life.
Oh.
Here's another contingency in this thing, or another factor that can limit. A virgin queen can mate for about 20 days, and then she becomes an egg drone layer. She lays unfertilized eggs and just makes drones. Okay, so there's this window of time, and if you think about it, when are virgin queens available? When are drones available? When is the weather conducive? You know, it's like mid-spring through summer. That's the time. And so if she goes out and flies and there aren't sufficient drones available, she may be undermated and she may peter out in 6 months.
And so then they'll super shoot.
Yeah. Maybe probably unsuccessfully in 6 months. You know, like if it's a summer queen and you try, okay, what does that work? Okay,
They're like, oh, how about November? Does that sound like a good time?
But you know, the cool thing is that our climate is a Pacific maritime climate, and we get these, you know, little piles of warm days. And the bees are dialed into that, and they may rear some queen cells, and there may be a virgin queen running around in there, and they go, oh, looks good, and out the door she goes. And there's drones out there. The first bees that get reared after workers, as soon as the bees can do it, as soon as they've got sufficient pollen source, is drones are protein hogs, or the drones. You'll see drones in late February, March being produced. They take a lot longer. You know, you're talking, 45 days for a mature drone from an egg, okay, to where they're flying to the drone congregation with a full artillery ready to go. Okay, the queen's less time, so they start rearing those drones early in the year, so they're ready
To give
for
them time.
those opportunities. Okay, but you'll see. I've seen drones overwinter many times. There's mature drones often, except during really severe winters when the hives are stressed and they got to kick them out the door to
They're like,
conserve.
sorry, you're out.
We'll make more
Do
of
they
you next
kill 'em?
year. No, they just throw them out. They don't refuse to feed them, and they kick them out of the hive. Yeah.
So should I feed the bees now?
What's blooming? Everything.
Yeah.
They will probably get enough from what's out there.
Okay.
If you feed them, it's going to overstimulate them.
Yeah.
And it might cause them to swarm if they haven't.
Oh, okay.
Because when there's an abundance of resources, bees will reproduce. They
Okay.
swarm.
So because my queen disappeared and then reappeared, so
Well, when you say that, what do you mean? How long
well,
was
they
she gone?
swarmed, and then I didn't have queen. When I opened up the hive, I didn't have any queen. I was freaking out.
You had queen cells. If
I
they
did have
swarmed,
queen cells.
So
yeah.
they produced a new queen, and she mated. Is she laying?
Yeah.
Ace.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So do I feed them pollen patties now? Because now
Go look. Well, the thing is the question you have to answer is: do they have sufficient resources in the hive now with the population? So you go to the edge of the brood nest, you find out where it is without smoking them to death. Like if you see a cluster of bees like this, you go, oh, that's the brood nest.
Yeah.
Go over here, lift this frame up, and see if there's pollen on it.
Okay.
If there's lots of pollen stored on there, they're getting plenty of pollen. And they're going to like that fresh pollen a whole lot better than that old stinky patty you're going to get.
Okay, yeah.
That's preferred. Fresh pollen is preferred. Next in line is bee bread and pollen substitute.
So how much do I need for
Pollen?
Yeah.
They determine that.
Oh.
Hey, look at. If I pick up a frame of brood, okay, if I pick up a frame of brood and I look in it,
Yeah.
are we done here?
He's doing something.
I don't know. What is
He
it?
went to
Too
go
hot
get
for
something.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Okay, because I want to get into another box. But anyway, if you pick up a frame of brood and you look at it, okay, and along you've got this kind of arched pattern, and you got
got
cap
grubs in
brood,
there.
open brood,
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
eggs in there. It could be a mix of it all.
Yeah.
Along the edge of that
Yeah.
are like a 2-cell wide band.
Yeah.
Okay, and when they're reproducing brood, that band will be dry. It's kind of like an empty bucket.
Okay.
And then bone dry. If that colony is getting ready to swarm, they will fill it up with nectar. And as the brood hatches out towards the center of that arc, they will backfill that with nectar. And all that nectar, and they won't turn it into honey, they'll leave it liquid.
Okay.
That's liquid fuel for the swarm. When they get ready to go, they'll go onto those frames and they'll suck all that stuff up, and out the door they go with the queen. So when a hive's getting ready to swarm, that band of dry cells gets filled up, and it continually gets filled and filled and filled. You think what happens if the queen doesn't have anywhere to lay? Do her ovaries stay enlarged or do they shrink? They shrink.
It was probably like,
She gets down to flying weight.
yeah.
It's a purposeful act on their part to both store liquid fuel for the swarm to take with them, because they're going to need nectar to make wax wherever they land, and reduce the area that she lays in, so she's not too heavy to fly, so she can make that long flight. If that is dry, okay, then they're not in the swarming mode, okay? But outside of those dry cells should be a band of pollen, 4, 5, 6 cells wide, pollen stored. You should see it. If that's gone, then all you need to do to confirm that whether or not they have adequate pollen is to look at the open larvae. The eggs have turned into larvae and they're not capped yet. They should be all sitting in a nice wet pool of royal jelly. If there's not adequate pollen in the colony, they cannot make royal jelly. Those larvae will be sitting in dry cells pretty much, okay? So that tells you whether or not they have adequate pollen.
So for each brood frame, you want to see two layer of
Well,
filled.
for each decent frame of brood, you should see a dry row of cells across the top of the brood, and then pollen after that, and a little
On the
band,
outside, yeah.
and then out in the corners, honey.
Honey, okay.
Because if you think about that brood frame's got to get fed. Nurse bees need honey and they need pollen to make mandibular secretions that they feed the larvae and the queen and all the other bees. They cycle the protein orally to all the other bees. When a forager comes in and dumps off the nectar,
Yeah.
they want a little protein boost. They run over to a nurse bee and bag it, and they will secrete mandibular secretions for that forager to give them, enough protein to maintain
Can I get to
themselves.
this?
Okay,
Okay.
they feed them.
Let me talk to you about
Yeah.
something.
But you produce a mated queen, maybe 5.
They're just,
On
I'll get used to
cool,
them.
short
Yeah.
days where the queen can't stay up very long, she flies at around 68 degrees, he flies at around 61.
Oh.
So they're at the DCA drone congregation area. The drones know where to go because that's where the queens are going to end up, and so they all go fly there. And I can take one of those queen pheromone things, those little noodles, the temp queens.
Yeah.
Put them on a helium balloon and go out there, and you can go find where the drones are. You just
Oh,
get that
really?
thing up about 30 feet in the air and go for a walk.
So there's one queen and there's lots of drones.
Oh, there'll be like 30 or 40 of them in the air in this V, just following her.
and she only breeds with one of them.
At a time. She'll mate from anywhere from 5 to 20.
Oh.
And then the more matings, the more diverse. Obviously, the sperm is going to be in her sperm.
But like in
Yeah, white is used in years that end in a 1 or a 6.
Okay.
Yellow is in years that are 2 and 7. Red is 3 and 8. Green is 4 and 9, and 5 and 0 is last year.
It'll be like,
So
Will
if you find
you
a blue
really
marked
get
queen, you know
by?
it's last year. If you find a green marked queen, you know it's a 2-year-old queen.
and when I got my nukes, they weren't marked.
Yep,
wax is
you can mark them. Let them get established, let them get laying, and go on there on a nice day, when it's not windy and it's sunny and the bees are happy
So
and,
because your mic
and you're not on
is high,
caffeine,
and you're gonna look
get
at
your
every
plastic
single frame
pen
now, or
and marker.
Will you really get by
But here,
Or are we just doing that because
without
we're
marking
drone?
your queen?
oh, come on, do a drone.
I really, really don't like that mic.
Just like this, yeah, just like that. Pen.
Also like this.
Yeah. Yep. Hold on.
Nearly as heavy as
Okay. He doth protest us much.
Okay, so then that would be
Awesome.
Yay.
He just marked a bee.
Yay! I should take a picture.
Okay. Oh, let me get you one. Here we go.
They kind of keep the camera up
You're up there.
Or they probably just having a good time with the bus.
Left or right handed?
But here we got more right.
Okay, so you want to put them in your left.
Let's take a look at what's happening.
Okay.
Let me get my the frame holder's really nice. You don't have to have a frame holder because you can lay them down, not stand them up. But frame holders are really nice.
I don't know.
So now
There you
this
go.
first frame, again, I'll
Right on the thorax.
with all the pieces.
Good job. Excellent.
So a drone is this big guy?
Yeah, yeah. Flies all the way across their head.
Funny, hold it from the bottom.
Yeah, you want to
Cheese.
you support it like
Cheese.
this.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're just holding it by the thorax.
Buddy,
You're
live long
marking
and
it.
prosper.
A lot of people will like to take. Let's see if we can get another guy here.
Across their head, flying.
Oh, drones. If you look at a drone, Blick Art Supply,
Oh.
$3 on sale.
Yeah, I've seen people with marking fingers with fingernail polish.
Move that out of the way so you wouldn't kick it.
Just painted your finger across the thing.
Want my hands? Yeah, we got a lot of upset bees today. And I'm the target of their love.
Smoke yourself.
Okay, with these pens, what you want to do, you want to see if they are correctly delivering, and that's what you should see. This little dot. If they flood, if this is all covered with liquid, you don't want to use them. You want to wipe them off somewhere. You just want them moist like that. So anyway, you want to put them in your non-dominant hand. So what you want to do is you want the bee headed into your fingers, okay? So if I'm like this drone, find a drone who's going to cooperate here. Here, this one right here, he's going to be headed into my fingers like this. Okay, I can pick him up with this hand, okay? But what I want to end up doing is laying them in this hand, okay? Like this, okay? No, what I gotta get my fingers straightened out here. You want to try to do it with your gloves not sticky or your fingers not sticky. You may just have to take them off. But anyway, I'm gonna wait for this drone right here is running like this. Okay, and so I'm picking them up like that. Okay, by the thorax. Okay, and then I can turn them around like this, just hanging onto the thorax. You got the legs immobilized. The queen has a stinger, and she can use it multiple times, but she will rarely sting. Okay, so I've got her corralled like this. Okay, and what I'm doing is I'm putting a dot right there on the thorax, just like that.
Okay.
And you hold it for a little while, let it dry.
So what he's doing is intentionally confusing me.
And then put her back on the screen.
The assistant queen.
What?
Yeah, the assistant queen.
Yeah. But yeah, now you're gonna find these cool looking drones with orange dots on their backs. But I mean, you can do this. You can do this over and over and over. You know. Right by the thorax. You just gently transfer them over. You're holding them like this. Doing the dot right in the middle. And then you can turn them loose. And it is an acquired skill, and there you've got lots of drones to practice on. If you can handle it, a drone is far more muscular than a queen. A lot of wing muscles. I mean, they chasing down queens and finding them in the sky. So, you know.
This is a drone, right? That's not a plane.
Yep.
That's a drone. And you just
Seems
holding
to
them
have
by
an
the
hour
thorax.
left.
And this is not the best vlog.
Yeah. You want to try one?
This is safe, and I don't have to worry about it.
But I'm not going to open up another hive right here. So we'll kind of use his hive. See if we can find a queen.
Now I'm gonna.
So because there was brood in the top box, which is now on the bottom there, because he reversed it as he took off. So
Were there any broods in the supers?
we didn't really look at them.
I haven't looked at those yet. Those were, the way I've got my hives is the bottom deep, 2 supers, and the top.
There's no honey. She needs
Which
to
is the
have
uppermost super?
pollen.
That one? Okay.
It may not have
It's not even gonna let her get up yet. So it's looking pretty good. So I tell you what, why don't I hand this to you? And this is a good one to practice on.
I have to move my hand over. I haven't got bees flying
Vertical.
off of this into my face.
And then you can
They're being pretty good.
And then put it back to the
So that's pollen. It's packed in there.
There?
Yeah.
Just honey and pollen. Still pollen on there.
Yes. How do you know the difference between bee bread and pollen?
By the time it's in the frames, it's bee bread.
Okay, so this is
Pollen is just what they bring into the hive from the.
Pollen is what they bring into the hive. They either use it immediately or they'll turn it into bee bread.
Yeah, it's like this. Actually, yeah, it's like a steam. These bees are throwing out their own foundation. Notice how it's nailed down here, nailed down over there. If you get it nailed on 3 sides,
these were foundation springs.
yeah, piece of wood on top. That's when you can draw that out. Yeah. Well, if you get them started straight, they usually stay straight. But if they get started, some bees like growing wonky cones.
So like
It's very
Starting to get a little excited.
So there's more. I don't see any eggs. No, there might be some.
Yeah, I got nothing but bee bread, no.
If they didn't get old,
Breaking my rule here, working across the frames, but
No brood
a lot of
down here.
space.
So what I may do is I may take this box home.
The smoke the place that you want to handle and don't over smoke unless you're getting attacked a lot.
oh, they're on my hand.
And think about getting
I'll be kind of scary.
and you
yeah,
take
the
it
yellowish,
away.
White and some yellow box. Like this is whiter.
yeah,
Then there's the yellow.
the yellowish. Those are
Well, it's old comb.
unworked cells.
So now putting them back in.
There's
You want to put them back in.
over there.
Sometimes the
That's
bees
honey,
go
but
underneath,
they've
so
got-
I just kind of go like this and it kind of
This comb, if you look at
There's
it,
a lot of.
you can tell it came out in sections because this is from a cutout that I did 2 years ago. So that comb's probably ready to change out anyway. But what I'm going to do
Like this. This is how I'd handle a queen, just like this.
is we're going to add
Put this finger underneath to support her abdomen, and then mark her like that.
down here that
That's,
box,
you know,
and
if
another
you-
box, and then that
You can.
deep will go on
I'm gonna go
top.
grab my marking pen.
Okay, so
you find her?
now,
No, we're gonna show them how to mark a drone.
and then
Oh.
there's dead ones all the time. It's just like their body.
Okay.
So he wants. This is a wax foundation. He just put a strip in, and because he wants them to build their own wax rather than to have a plastic foundation. Those have a plastic foundation. Okay, and then let me go to the next one. So they obviously have not built any comb on these. There's not the queen. The queen overall is not going to be on a frame that doesn't have. Yeah. So the queen overall is not going to be on a frame that doesn't have wax. Now look how these bees are. They've made a beard there. This is how they build wax. They hold on to each other's legs. They excrete wax on their abdomen, and each wax flake they will pass it around, and then they will put it in. And you can see how they're drawing this one out nicely.
Oh, the other one and next to it is even better.
Yeah.
Wait till you get that out.
Yeah. Okay, so now I've got a couple out here, but now I don't need to take any more out. I can just kind of move them around. We'll get down to the next box and you guys can do it. So here's another.
The before after right here.
Yeah, let's walk around.
And you notice how they kind of make themselves a little tunnel.
So are these mostly drones then? They're really big.
Yep, those are mostly drones.
Okay.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Okay, so this is a hive that had about 10 queen cells in it about a month ago. And he just let them swarm and requeen themselves. So they made a lot of drones. There's no eggs here or anything in these cells. They're just drawing out the cells. I'm just going to... At the middle is where the activity is. So now I finally get to a middle frame.
Is that normal for them to build middle out? Or
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
As a sign
So, now this one, if you can see, they have connected the top to the bottom. So I can move it around a little bit. Before, like these other ones were not connected at the bottom, so I didn't want to manipulate it. I was being very careful to just kind of go like this. Here, if it's connected, I can actually, and it's not too hot a day, I can go straight on in.
Yeah.
And then I can look at the other side by rotating. If it's a really hot day, that wax will just break apart and fall.
Yeah.
Or if it's even not a hot day at all, and if I rotate it this way, it could break and fall. 65 pounds, but I'm pretty sure I could do it. Let's see. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Okay, again, I gotta get these boxes apart. Pop. Get over here. I get this corner. Top.
Are you moving the box now?
Yeah, I will be.
Okay.
Yeah. Then let's see. And then let's get this last corner. So all four corners. There. And let's see if I can do it. So this is a problem about having a hive up so high when you get so many boxes.
We're going to add another one.
Joy.
And the problem of being short.
Yes, you got it. Okay, so I got it. Notice how I'm not twisting my body. Straight over. I got it. There we go. Now we can put that back in. I'm going to hold it this way. Let me show you. And then
One more time.
Yeah. So you're going to kind of get your fingers into here.
Okay.
And to here.
Yeah, it's kind of stuck. It's kind of amazing how
oh, yeah,
sticky that propolis is.
That propolis is. So then you get good.
Okay.
Hi, friends. Perfect. And then you're going to take it over and put it right in front of this, laying against it. No, right together. Right together with it. So they'll keep each other warm and happy. There you go.
Okay.
Perfect. And probably we need to take one more frame out. Who wants to take the next frame out?
You? Was that your hand?
Who doesn't have experience?
Ken, do you want to take the next frame out?
I was really worried.
We'll use this. Yeah. Oh, let's put this. Yeah. Yeah. So get right here on the side. And here we've got a bridge, so you might want to take your hive tool and kind of break this bridge. Now you got to be careful because there's bees underneath and you don't want to kill them, so I usually kind of rock it in. Kind of rock it in to, you know, get that wax out.
I've got one bee who's very mad at me.
Was it buzzing at you?
Yeah.
Okay, so then you take this and you smoke
I
yourself.
feel like my brain is
And
burning.
you smoke, and you smoke the bee, and we'll kind of get over here.
So here, Paul. What you do, because it's coming from the side, first you pop it out like that, you just kind of level and pop it.
Yeah.
So what's the difference? Well, it just breaks the proper. Yeah, when you did that one, it just pop. But if you use that to, when it's back like that, you just kind of loosen it first.
Frames out. I have a frame holder someplace. Oh,
Where's your bag? Yeah. Or did we leave
oh
it
yeah,
on
could you
pause?
get my bag?
It's here somewhere.
I can't forget about my.
Behind you. But the frame holder's not there.
I think it's on the back of Paul's truck.
Oh,
Oh, but his truck's over here.
could you go grab it? Okay, so let's, if you notice, there's 10 frames in here and they're pushed towards the center. There's a little gap on the side. That gap is what's going to allow me to take a frame out and not roll the bees. And if you look along here, you'll have to really get up on tiptoe. There is wax. They made a little wax bridges between this frame and the wall. So we're going to get this in here and kind of cut some of that bridges without, trying not to hurt a bee because bees are all around it. So you just kind of cut that, just kind of, just to, there you go. I think I got it.
Back up on the table.
Here's one right there. You want to cut that one? There's one right there, a little bridge. Just kind of slide it along the side of the wood straight down. There you go.
And then down?
Yep. There you go. Perfect. All right. So now using this, we use a lot of lever action. So they have propolized these frames together. One, I could try to get in between the frames and kind of cut it. Sometimes I don't need to do that. I can just put this inside and lever it apart. See how that just pushed it apart?
Especially on a warm day.
So here, yeah, kind of depends on the day.
That's one reason why the frames are made to move so much. There's not like individualized slots, they slide.
And in fact, they do sell something that can go here, a metal thing that got individual slots. Those are terrible.
Yeah, that
You
seems
just
like,
don't want to do.
yeah.
Okay, so now that I have kind of wiggled this back and forth a little, I've got it, I've got it loosened up. I can get this in here
Let them sit there for how long?
and lever it up. I am right-handed, so I want the left side first, and then I'm going to go over here to the right side. Set it on the edge, and then I can grab it. And this is going to be 10 pounds. It could be at 10 pounds.
It seems like they kind of puzzle.
I'm going to come up slow so I don't roll the bees and kill them, like I did right there's one I killed.
together really well. So you can manage
Oh, I haven't smoked these yet.
the same direction.
Erica, since you're in charge of smoking, you want to get the smoker out?
Absolutely.
They're behaving so nicely, I just haven't smoked it yet. So here's a frame of honey. Most of it's capped. And look at the bottom. What is in those cells that are open? It's a gooey substance. It's got honey with it and pollen. They make a bee bread. They mix the honey and pollen, and then they it ferments a little bit. So it's even got fungus in it, like like yeasts and stuff. So you don't need to smoke this one. Smoke the entrance, right at the entrance, right there. So now, because I don't really have a place to put this, I forgot. Paul made this. Look how he made his so nicely. I forgot about that. I think it fits too. It was supposed to fit.
There you go, Linda.
Oh no, it doesn't fit. He made a mistake on this one.
I had to go back to the table.
Okay, yeah. Perfect. Thank you for going way over there. So Paul made a mistake. He meant to make this such that this was a frame holder.
Oh, okay.
But he made a mistake.
So we're building our own. That's a good thing to keep.
See, it's just a little bit too far apart.
It's a shimmer, it'll work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering about that. I thought it looked like
That is a great idea.
So I think the one at home he did correctly. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a couple of these out because it's just way too heavy to move without it. Oh, so I opened that one. Would you like to, Kevin?
No, I've opened.
Okay, you've done
I've
this
got
before.
plenty
Okay,
of
you want to?
Okay, yeah.
So get it in here and kind of wedge it open.
This side, right?
No, first we're gonna go in, let's see, this one. You're gonna go in here, and you're gonna go like that. Yeah, there you go. That's right, keep going. Perfect. There.
And then this side too?
I already did this side.
Okay.
So now,
And then left side?
are you right-handed?
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
right-handed.
So now lift. Now, because you have nothing to hold on to here,
Yeah.
you've got to do the other side. Because this little notch has to fit on
You'll see the
the
lever.
frame. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
And I grab this
Grab
side.
it with your left hand.
Oh yeah, it is heavy. Wow. They're in there.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
How
The
long
other side?
should I have smoked it for? I did about 20 seconds.
That's fine.
Okay.
And now lift it up onto the edge. There you go. Now you can put your hive tool down. That's good.
Where do I set it? Just anywhere?
I oftentimes will put it right on the side. Good job.
Hi, babies. Oh. And I just
Very
set
nice.
it on here?
Yeah. Now, because we actually want to move the box, we're actually going to not set it on there.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm changing it on you.
That's all right.
So what we're going to do, to hand it over to a person, just say, you know, I've got it. Okay. And then you can let go. Look at the bottom. You've got the pollen down there. Beautiful bee bread. But it's only one color. Only one color pollen. We're going to hope to find more colors of pollen. See, it has all the same color. No, the pollen. No, the pollen over there. That's all one color pollen. We want a variety. So, if you don't have like an extra box, like at home I would have an extra box down here to put these in. Put them on edge, like this, down on the ground, against a hive, okay? Corner, and see if you can pop that. There you go. Maybe it needs this corner too. There you go.
Right.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, turn it over when you use it. So this is a beveled edge. That's usually the type of side you have up. Yep. There you go. All right. So now this is the inner cover. When I take it off, see it's still stuck, but that's okay. Here we go. Here's the bees on it. So doing well. We got a few drones there. So here's this. So we were just talking before about how the drones are. The drones do not have a stinger, and it's good to practice picking up bees by practicing.
I wish I had brought my real camera.
I'll put this on Facebook.
Got to get both wings at the same time to have least likelihood of harming them. And then once you get used to picking up drones, you picked up 1,000 drones or 100 drones, then when you have a queen, you can easily pick up the queen without harming her. This is a warm day.
Yeah.
On a warm day, the bees are all spread out. On a cold day, they will be in a really tight ball, and on a really cold day, they will be in a cluster, we call it. And that cluster is really important not to break. So if it's a really cold day, we wouldn't be getting in here. But now look how spread out they are. That's nice. Lots of drones. See, there's a nice drone. You want to practice picking up a drone?
Yeah.
Lots of drones. This is the time of year
So
when they...
this guy's a drone right
Yep,
here, right?
yep.
And so you just...
Yep, just like that.
Yeah.
Thumb and finger. There you go.
One.
Try to get both wings. So you can go like this, right there,
Where they connect.
squeeze, and then pick it up. Beautiful. And then you just kind of...
Ooh. That one's a little mad.
Good job. All right.
Well, I failed picking up the drone.
Not doing anything. They're coming in from a landing and they're leaving. Sometimes you'll see them fighting. Sometimes you'll see them doing orientation flights. Orientation flights is when the bees that are old enough to become foragers, they're about 3 weeks old. I mean, 2 to 3 weeks old. They have to know where their hive is in relationship to the world. So they come out here and they will just fly like this, and they'll go in, and they'll come out a little further, and they go in. And you might see 1,000 of them out here doing that.
Okay.
Because that day, 1,000 have graduated to become field bees.
Okay.
Right now, we have a few doing that over here. See that little movement there where they just kind of sit in front and they just kind of go like this? That's the kind of behavior that those new orientation flights will do. I don't know if any of those are orientation flights, but right now we don't have that. Do you see any pollen?
Not very much yet.
No, these guys are not bringing in pollen. But look at this hive over here. This one is bringing in tons of pollen. I was looking at it earlier. Let's see about this one. This one, there's one with pollen. So this hive, they just haven't found pollen yet today. They could be bringing in nectar because they're coming back. Maybe they don't need pollen. Maybe they found it, but they don't need it, so they're just concentrating on nectar. All right, so we pretty much figured, we've seen as much as we can there. Okay, let's see if you come back. Here he is.
Predators, essentially.
So now to open the top, I'll wait for him. You have any questions now?
No.
Okay.
I just
So we were
dipping
just.
my beard in tonight.
Oh, I know. I know that it gets caught in the zipper. Yep. Oh, yeah. Okay. So now we have this is 8 frame equipment. I prefer, I'm sorry, this is 10 frame equipment.
Okay, yeah.
I prefer 8 frame equipment. Paul is transitioning from 10 frame deeps, these are deeps, he's transitioning to 8 frame supers. So right now he's putting in 10 frame supers. So by next year or the year after, all of his hives will just be this size box. There'll be none of these deep
What's the
boxes.
rationale for switching?
Your back, so that you can be keeping when you're 90.
Gotcha. Okay. Not more than that. Don't overread into it.
Yep, that's the main thing. Also, they don't seem to use all those 10 frames. You know, they
The
so they
outer
don't
two
need it.
generally are vacant.
But is that the same on the 8 frame too? Do they do that same thing, or do they
Not
kind
as
of fill
much.
up?
Not as much.
So they tend to fill up the 8 frames more. It's more just a natural size that.
I think so. You know, they're still going to fill up those last 2 frames on the outside at the end, but in the 10 frames, it'll be the last 2 frames on the outside that they won't fill. Okay, so we just looked at the front. There's no pollen coming in on this one. There is over there, so we know there's pollen out in the field.
Yeah.
You guys might want to come a little bit out of the
path.
the pathway. So we'll just kind of, if you want to, you can even come right here next to me. I think we've got room right here. And so we looked at everything that we can learn from the front there. So now to start to use the tools, this is my favorite. First, many times the top will be glued down tight. They use the propolis from these trees, especially the evergreen trees, to make a glue. That glue it kills fungus diseases, so fungal diseases are controlled by propolis. So the more a hive brings in propolis, sometimes the healthier they are. Not all propolis is the same. Some propolis has more antifungal activity than other propolis. So to open it, you're going to get up in here and pop that propolis seal. Okay. And so when you do that, sometimes you have to do more than one side. And then you'll be able to take this
cap
off.
it for honey, and then
And come over and take a look. And I'm going to set this down. So you see what Paul has done? He added little spacers so that air can flow. Also, look at the spiders. Sometimes you see the most beautiful spiders in hives. Beautiful jumping spiders. And I try to take them out. Oh, thanks.
do you have to take all the
I try to take the spiders out, but I do get quite a few spiders and I put them on iNaturalist so that someone can identify them for me. If we have a moment, I'll show you. Oh, here. Here we go. Let's look at our drones. See here? This is a drone. Look at, okay, the workers have small eyes and a short abdomen.
Yeah.
Those drones are they're like bullets. They got a rounded abdomen. The workers have a pointed abdomen. Drones are fuzzy. They do not have a stinger. So it's good to practice picking up bees by picking up drones. I only got one wing. So you get used to picking up bees by practicing on the drones, because one, they're not going to sting you, and two, it's okay if you harm them because, you know, they don't need that many drones. And then eventually you work up to being able to pick up.
All mediums, all wax foundation. Wax foundation is very hard to see eggs in because it's white and your eggs are white. What I'm planning on doing is when I find my black foundation in my various deep frames, I'm going to cut the frames and then my two bottom brood boxes with the black foundation.
I've tried to find frames with black.
These long-handled dudes, you know, because you can, they don't bite all the time. That's why it's in my bucket. The other thing that's really handy are these.
Here we go.
These are made by Mandalay, but I'll give one to each one of you and take it home and try it.
Remember, smoke is bad for your lungs.
It's a little pellet. It'll burn anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
You just have to jump in and jump out of your hive, and you don't want to light the whole thing up.
Now, in the end, you don't want a flame. You want a cool smoke. If the smoke is too hot,
I think they're like,
it'll really,
harm. Something for a bag of 100.
So,
but anyway, I use them a lot. I
these
get into meeting
pellets
these
actually
little
burn
green
fairly
colonies,
hot.
and they're really handy for that. And if you want to have smoke
So,
right away,
if it's still in the
you can
cool
throw,
weather,
without a lot of puffing, you can throw a
like
couple
now,
of these in, and they will make smoke instantly while this gets going, you know, without 100 puffs and all of that stuff. So I'll show you how they work. So anyway, you put that in. You got burlap, and then I tip this so the material. There's a hole in the bellows here that blows into the chamber. You want to make sure by turning it upside down that you got that all free so you can see the holes in there and air can get through. So anyway, I get this away from the air hole just a little bit, and I light it, and just let the fire get going. And then I use my hive tool. What I want to do is I want to make some coals.
Like I say, it's the patient stage. It's really irritating, but okay.
I kind of work this around.
So now I'm going to go ahead and close this, and from now on out, I'm just going to expect that this is really hot. If I want to open it, I'm going to use this. I'm going to close it and use that. So I want to take a feel of opening it, closing it. There you go.
Do a couple of these dudes in there.
Yep, that's it.
What were those
now,
called
because
again?
They're called quick start.
It's pretty easy to close.
Yeah.
When the creosote
Notice how that just took off with the flare?
It's hard to close.
And you're just using dry burlap, correct?
Yep, just dry burlap. Right away, those quick starts give you instant smoke. But you're going to want to push it a little bit just to get the flame up into that burlap, the old burnt stuff and the new stuff. But you know, you can get instant smoke. And the test is put your hand out. You want to feel. Not a lot of heat, just barely warm. You don't want to burn the bees. You just want to confuse them. And a trick, if your material gets burnt, like if I open this up and this is all dark and it's burning down and it's starting to feel hot, I'll take some green material off the ground and I'll wad it up and put it on top, and that will suppress that the hot portion of the flame coming out, and it'll eventually dry it out and use it as a fuel. But anyway, that is a really fast way of getting a smoker lit, and it will stay lit a long time. It's got holes underneath. It's got fuel to slowly burn above, and then as it burns down, when I get down, I get my fuel's about halfway down. I'll take a piece of this and roll it up and then bend it over so the frayed edges are down, and I'll tuck that into the smoker, and these will light, and away it goes. But I've tried pine needles, all kinds of stuff. I've got people that I know that own coffee companies, and I got more burlap bags than I know what to do with.
I couldn't find burlap, but I found it in the gift giving section.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, hunt out bean roasted. But that's